Today is April the 24th. What does it mean to be humble? Let's find out together as we studied different passages throughout Scripture. So yesterday, Denise taught us from the book of Mark, Jesus ministering to children, and focused on the concept of humility. I thought it would be interesting for us to just look a little bit farther in what Scripture has to say about being humble, being meek. What we find as we look at the Old Testament, that there are actually two word families that are translated humble in the Old Testament. One word family means gentle. Being humble is being gentle. Kings can be humble. Prophets can be humble from time to time. The second word family means poor. Now, literally, poor in Israel, it wasn't so much a matter of money in the bank. It was a matter of you were landless. Because you had no land, you had no way to provide for your family. In essence, you were defenseless. Now, the king and the Lord defend the weak, defend the poor. That's why we get in the book of Zechariah, a passage that we have read several times, Zechariah 9:9. Look, your king is coming to you humble, riding on a donkey. We've mentioned in other devotionals and bonus episodes that riding on a donkey was something that wasn't reserved for a king. A donkey was a pack animal. It was an animal that the poor would use. The king identifies with the poor because he defends the poor. He defends those who are defenseless. The Messiah, when he comes, will be humble. Now, maybe because of that, when we get to the New Testament, very, very quickly, Jesus takes a very positive view of the humble, of the meek. This is not common. Humility was not, especially in Greek literature, it was not a virtue. It was a character flaw. You weren't supposed to be humble. You were supposed to be proud. To a degree, you were supposed to be arrogant. But instead, in the Sermon on the Mount, one of the very first things that Jesus says, blessed are the meek, blessed are the humble, for they'll inherit the whole earth. Now, thinking back to what the Old Testament says about being humble, being poor, it's being landless. Blessed are the landless because they will inherit not just a plot of land, but the entire earth. The Lord protects the meek. He protects the humble. In the same way, Galatians chapter 5, in the epistles, Paul, as he describes that list of characteristics that we should all have, the fruit of the Spirit, Galatians 5:23. Humility is one of the virtues that we are to have. In the book of Philippians, Christ himself is humble. Philippians chapter 2, verse 8. When Christ appeared among us, he humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on the cross. The Messiah is humble, Christ is humble, and so we too should be humble. Romans chapter 12, verse 16. Live in harmony with each other. Don't be proud. Don't be too proud to enjoy the company of ordinary people. Don't think you know it all. That's the New Living Translation. NIV simply says, don't be proud. Be humble. In Colossians chapter 3, one of my favorite passages, it just sort of summarizes what Paul says our Christian life should be. Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 to 14. Since God chose you to be the holy people he loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Keep in mind that in the Greek world, these were not virtues. These were character flaws. Paul says, embrace them. Humility, kindness, gentleness, patience. Make allowance for each other's faults. Forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. And above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. What Paul says is we are to be humble as we approach each other. Humility lends itself to the unity of the body. So let's be humble in our approach to each other. I encourage you to like and subscribe to this devotion on whatever platform you might choose to listen to it. If you have questions for us, email us at questions@becomehope.com. Tomorrow, we'll look at what Jesus says about the resurrection.